Hi everyone, Caroline Bell here for another Finance in 15 or a live Q&A every second Wednesday. So we've received a couple of questions, but a lot of the questions are in relation to Summerhill Invest and what it all actually means. So I thought I would sort of go through the process of what actually is Summerhill Invest, how is it different to what we've been doing in the past, and sort of just basically how it all works. But first, I wanted to kick off with one question that we sort of did receive, which, what is an ETF? And this is fairly relevant for some of our clients who haven't used ETFs before, and so it's a bit of a new concept. So an ETF is an exchange-traded fund. And by exchange-traded fund, it's essentially just a basket of stocks. So for many of our longer-term clients, it's very similar to how you've been investing in terms of investing in a basket of stocks, rather than just in individual stocks. Historically, we've just been using funds. ETFs, although not brand new, they're relatively new and they've been relatively limited up until recently, a little bit more limited in Australia compared to the rest of the world. But think of an ETF as like a managed fund, but you can buy and sell it on the stock exchange. So similar to a managed fund, it's just a basket of different securities. So you're buying basically, particularly with an index ETF, you're buying up the whole market. So the ASX 200, for example, and then you can actually just trade that single stock, which is again just holding a basket of stocks underneath on the stock exchange. So you can just sort of trade it on not that you would, but you could trade it on a daily basis. You can buy and sell it at any time on the stock exchange. And just like with a managed fund, you receive the dividends as per normal with the full franking credits as well. We're using, particularly with Summerhill Invest, we're using baskets of ETFs. So we've got different ETFs in the portfolios that we use, and the different ETFs relate to bonds as well as shares, global exposure, just like what we've always been doing. So one of the questions that comes up is with Summerhill Invest is, after I buy the ETFs online, do I manage them by myself? How does it work? And this question came up from someone who has previously bought ETFs before, so knows how they work, but also knows how much paperwork and administration can be involved in managing individual shares or individual ETFs. As we all know, just with the share registry paperwork, in terms of receiving the CHESS paperwork, dividend notices, TFN notifications, etc. So once the portfolio is purchased inside Summerhill Invest, you can actually go online and check your portfolio at any time. But one of the benefits and how we've sort of designed this is all the administration is done online through the portfolio. So you're not going to get individual notices from share registries based on the ETFs that you've purchased. Everything is absolutely managed online, and we've really done that on the basis of trying to make investing really easy for people. A lot of people get scared off by investing because they think it's so much work and it's so hard. So we've taken the hard work away from that by putting together the portfolios that we think are best for clients based on the right mix of shares versus bonds, and we've got different portfolios with different amounts in each, depending on the risk profile, as well as the diversification across different regions and different asset classes. So following on from our existing philosophy of being really well diversified. In terms of the benefits, in terms of why would I use Summerhill Invest instead of going directly? One is the reduced administration. So as I already mentioned, the portfolio does all the administration in relation to the paperwork. There's really nothing that you need to do after setting up the account other than just going online when you feel like it and sort of looking at your balance or seeing transactions. It's just a normal investment account. So you've got complete access to transactions, statements, and portfolio and performance balances as well. In addition, what the portfolio also does is automatic rebalancing. So what do I mean by rebalancing? So let's say, for example, you start off with a 50-50 portfolio. And this is something we've been doing for clients manually up to now. And so let's say you start with this 50-50, as I mentioned, and particularly if you start investing now, markets are relatively low. So we're expecting an increase over the next 12 months. And in 12 months' time, your share component of the portfolio has risen to 60%. And so your bonds are lower. So you've lost this 50-50 balance that you started out with. Now, of course, if you're relatively new at investing, or you're now comfortable with sort of a more aggressive portfolio with more exposure to shares than previously, you can, of course, go in and change the portfolio at any time. It's completely flexible. But if you're still comfortable and want to maintain this 50-50 portfolio, Summerhill Invest does the administration by automatically rebalancing. So it sells some of the shares that you've made a profit on, and then buys up some more bonds to sort of get that secure component back in the portfolio, and it gets you back to that 50-50 target you originally set out on. So that's what we mean by rebalancing, and we generally find that a lot of investors who don't have that professional managed investment portfolio don't do that, and they end up with a bit of a portfolio that is very different to how it originally started, especially when it comes to reinvesting dividends. That really can put a portfolio out of whack, and you might find yourself 3 or 4, 5 years' time with high balances in certain funds or certain ETFs or stocks than what the original intention was. Also, with the Summerhill Invest portfolio, at the end of the year, you get a tax statement, and you can actually give that tax statement to your accountant, or if you're doing your tax return yourself, it gives you the information in a one-page summary, so you know what dividends to include in your tax return, what interest and what franking credits. So what we really designed Summerhill Invest for, to make investing simple, to make it really easy to go online, choose the right portfolio for you based on a series of questions, and then really just being able to let it do its thing, but still that you've got full access to the portfolio at any time. So one of the questions that's come up is, well, can you choose your own investments in Summerhill Investment? The short answer is no. So we have designed these portfolios for anyone who wants to do stock picking. So if you are someone that really enjoys picking stocks, and maybe you want to buy NAB instead of CBA or Rio instead of BHP, using Summerhill Invest for that component of the portfolio is not for you. These portfolios are really designed for people who don't want to spend a lot of time researching stocks, doing a lot of work in terms of administration, but still want to have something basically professionally managed with broad diversification. So the Summerhill Invest portfolios really are sort of broad-based ETF portfolios with global diversification, which means you can't choose your investments. But like with many of our clients in the past, you may decide that you want to have a portion of your savings in Summerhill Invest, and maybe you want to have a bit of speculation in relation to doing some picking based on some personal interest. Something that's, of course, perfectly fine. Then the question is, well, how do you actually get started with Summerhill Invest? So these are some changes that we've made recently, and particularly for our existing clients. The reason why we've made Summerhill Invest, as many of you may know already, is we've had a waiting list for new clients for many years, and so we've always been limited in terms of being able to receive referrals, which, especially because we receive referrals from our clients, it's always really hard to turn clients away. But we've had no choice in relation to making sure that we could manage, still look after our existing clients to the same level. So with increasing technology, we've been able to come up with a solution whereby we can accept more clients again. And the other benefit is we can accept more clients with a lower fee as well, which is really important to us, to make sort of financial advice more accessible for referrals than what we've been able to provide before. So for sure, we still have our traditional one-on-one, high-touch financial advice service. But now with Summerhill Invest, we've been able to open that up to some more options. So one option is, if someone knows what their goals are, someone's comfortable with the concept of investing, they can actually simply go online through the Summerhill website, the Summerhill Invest website, which I'll sort of I'll bring it up now. So we've got the Summerhill Invest website there, so they can go online directly and start investing straight away. For other people that are ready to invest but are still a little bit unsure, then we offer a 15-minute Zoom call where you can actually just give us a call on Zoom, and we just sort of talk through over 15 minutes any questions that you have before starting the portfolio. Then what we've really done, which is a little bit different that we haven't sort of really been able to offer before, is if someone wants some financial advice, but maybe they don't need a full financial advice check, or they don't really need full ongoing financial advice, but maybe they've just got an issue or two that they need a little bit of help with, we now offer financial health checks. So with a financial health check, and there's a lot of detail on the website in relation to what's included in the pricing structure, but someone can come to us for a much cheaper price than what we've been able to do historically, and actually just get whatever their particular financial issue is, can help dealing with that issue, and then without the need of becoming an ongoing client, or just investing in Summerhill Invest without actually paying ongoing advice fees. So we've got quite a few different options now, which I'm really, really happy about in terms of just being able to accept referrals again. So as we've sort of put on the slide there, we are able to accept client referrals. We've been able to sort of, by introducing Summerhill Invest, we've been able to really reduce that waiting list. So to be honest, from my point of view, it's great to be open for business again to the full extent. As always, look, I hope this has been useful. Other than sort of particular investment questions, it's been a little bit more about Summerhill Invest and how we're integrating it into the existing business to expand it, to be able to accept more clients and just basically provide financial advice to more people. But of course, any other queries, please feel free to share them. We would love to hear from you. Thanks, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.